Welcome to my views and news. It was around 2 weeks ago, more than 2 weeks ago, Oromo Liberation Army (OLA), armed group based in the Oromia region of Ethiopia, fighting for years, and Oromia regional government issued separate statements. Both sides showed their interest in the resolution of armed conflict in Oromia through dialogue. OLA shared some preconditions for the start of talks. Oromia government invited OLA to the table. What happened after that? Has any progress been made? We have details for you about the progress which is being made. Before that, what is overall situation in Oromia these days? Any fighting in Oromia? Is ENDF still deployed to Oromia? What we have learned from the ground is that intensity of fighting has decreased considerably in the Oromia region between OLA and government forces. We could not confirm any large scale fighting between OLA and government forces in western, central, or southern Oromia. Yes, small scale skirmishes have been reported by some sources. OLA spokesperson Oda Derby, who regularly updates about OLA's operations, has been largely silent within the last 2 weeks or so. He spoke yesterday only when he rejected rumors that talks had started between OLA and Ethiopian government in Addis Ababa. It was being rumored by some sources that an OLA delegation had arrived in Addis Ababa, talks were underway, but Oda Turbi, OLA spokesperson, rejected these rumors. He said talks had not started. Now, what has happened in the last 2 weeks indicates that some foreign players are trying to involve in the mediation between OLA and Ethiopian federal government. Talks would be between OLA and federal government, not between OLA and Oromia government, because OLA has ruled out the possibility of Oromia government being a stakeholder, being a major party in talks. OLA says that it's mainly federal government which should talk to OLA. But if you remember, in a detailed statement, OLA laid out some preconditions that talks should be held, monitored by some third parties, some third party states. Implementation should be ensured by third parties. OLA commanders' security should be guaranteed. They should be removed from conflict areas. So basically, OLA wants Pretoria-style engagement with Ethiopian federal government. Pretoria talks, which led to the signing of deal between TPLF and Ethiopian federal government, were held in Pretoria, South Africa, and then in Nairobi, Kenya. And it was a broader effort with involvement of regional and international players. African Union was involved, US was involved, IGAD involved. EU was kept out of talks, which led to signing a deal. Same could happen here too, reportedly. What we have learned is that some diplomats have contacted OLA and Ethiopian government. The diplomats want to play a role in the resolution of conflict in Oromia. From which countries are these diplomats? Almost a week ago, Antony Blinken visited US Secretary of State visited Ethiopia. He held talks, and then State Department issued a statement. There was a mention of Oromia in that statement. US called upon Ethiopian government to put an end, to find a solution to the conflict in Oromia. So Oromia is on the agenda of US State Department. What we have learned through some people who are in touch with Oromo Liberation Army is that diplomats from US have contacted Oromo Liberation Army, and they are in contact with Ethiopian federal government, obviously. And diplomats from some Western countries are also in touch with the OLA. Reportedly, diplomats from Norway contacted members of the Oromo Liberation Army, commanders of the OLA. So EU and US both want a role in peace process about Oromia. We don't know about Ethiopian government's intention. Will it allow EU and US to be part of talks? Or does it want local mechanism for the resolution of the conflict? But OLA has rejected a local mechanism. And now when foreign diplomats are contacting OLA, obviously OLA would like foreign diplomats, other countries to be part of the mediation. OLA has a better experience of local mediation, regional mediation. They say that in 2018 they were betrayed when agreement was signed and Ethiopian government violated the agreement. That is why OLA had to take up arms. So EU and US are interested. They are contacting the two parties. African Union is being approached by members of Oromia region, members of parliament from Oromia region, MPs, members of House of People's Representatives of Ethiopia. They held some meetings at African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa a few days ago. They submitted a letter, a request to African Union. They asked African Union to play its role in the resolution of conflict in Oromia. They said that African Union should have played a role earlier, but it ignored the conflict in Oromia and innocent people are dying. That is why the regional body, African Union, should intervene. So you see that different players are now being involved. African Union, maybe IGAD too, US, EU, maybe UN, though we have no information about involvement of UN officials in the preparations. What matters is, what is Ethiopian government's plan? Does it want foreign mediation or not? And what type of peace process does it want? OLA's position is very clear. OLA wants Pretoria-style mediation. But we'll have to wait. So far, since fighting, the intensity of fighting has decreased. We have not seen any strong statements from OLA and Oromia government against each other. Rather, the two are issuing statements showing their interest in dialogue. And we have seen statements from religious leaders in Oromia. They called upon OLA, called upon the government to the table. It means environment is being built for the start of talks. Conditions are there. No one can deny. We saw a momentum after the signing of Pretoria deal in Ethiopia, a momentum for finding resolution to conflict through dialogue. And we have seen several developments. In BG, two groups have made peace with the government. In Gambela, talks underway in South Sudan between Gambela Liberation Front fighters and Ethiopian National Defense Force. In Amhara region, talks underway between Oromo Liberation Front fighters and Amhara regional government. So you see that across Ethiopia, regional governments, federal government, Ethiopian army, they're trying to engage with armed groups through dialogue. and we are seeing progress. Same is going to happen in Oromia. Signs are there that progress is being made, though the pace of this progress is slow, very slow. And main obstacle is that Ethiopian government wants a local effort, a local mechanism. OLA wants a regional and international mechanism for start of talks. Since international players are involving themselves, it means that progress is being made, but no direct talks have started so far on the ground. But indirect contacts are being reported by most sources. Thank you.